view of solving equations using the substitution method. Okay, so this is something that we did in class a little bit before, so I'm going to kind of walk through it, give you a little bit of an example of how we solve these problems. Okay, so what we have to look at, we have, especially in substitution, you're going to have two equations. All right, one, two equations. And the reason they are equations is because of the equal sign. Equations, equal sign. That's one thing that you want to remember. Equal sign, equations, equations means equal signs. If it doesn't have an equal sign, then that means it's just an expression. Okay? So, for these, you have your two variables, x and y. When we deal with substitution, you're going to find, or you're going to isolate, get by itself, or find just one letter like this answer here, y equals -2. We're going to have two answers every single time. We're going to have an x and we're going to have a y. All right? So when you solve for one, you just plug that original answer. No, not the original answer. You put your new answer into the original problem, the original equation, and then you solve for that. Okay? Talking a lot, let's walk through it. Okay? So for number one, it just says 4x minus 3y equals 18. That's our top equation. Our bottom equation, y equals -2. Now, remember one of the things that I used to do in class, I want to make sure everything lines up. I want to make sure everything, it just looks better when it's lined up. So I would say try your best to make sure equal signs on equal signs, y's on y's, or variables on variables. It just makes it a little bit easier, a little bit more streamlined when you can see it that way. All right, so let's just go through this real quick. So, again, 4x minus 3y equals 18, y equals -2. So, I'm going to use blue for my y. Whenever you have this, especially if it's by itself, you're going to rewrite the equation with your answer here. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite it. 4x minus 3. Now, instead of just y, because we know y equals -2, I'm going to put -2 in their place for y. Okay? You see what I did? I substituted -2 because that's what y equaled. So 3y is 3 times -2. And then I keep the equation the way it is. Okay? Now we have a little bit of math to do. Now we're going from, and that's the interesting thing. This is substitution, but we're actually going back and back and back to multi-step equations down to one-step equations to get our answers. Again, like I said, once we have those four fundamental foundations of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, we can solve pretty much anything that we need to in the mathematics world. Okay? So I'm going to continue on. 4x. So now when you multiply these, one of the things that I notice a lot is we don't bring down, or we don't use that minus sign, but it's in front of the number. So it is -3 or -3 times -2. What do we get when we get a negative times a negative? A positive. Okay? So it'll be 4x. Now, -3 times -2 is positive 6 equals 18. Okay? So now we're breaking it down and down. We're breaking it down and down to its simplest parts. So now we're at, let's say, a two-step equation, or multi-step, but it's two-step equation, okay? Same thing here. In those equations, when you want to isolate your variable, you always do the opposite, okay? So I have 4x plus 6 equals 18. Now, I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. Okay? Now, I apologize about the noise. My dog is in here being gross when he knows he shouldn't be. Stop, please. All right? I guess I'll use this color. All right, so now we have positive 6 minus 6. As I've done before in class, I cancel it out. I want to get rid of it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it anymore. But then everything else comes down. So now, if I can find my other marker. So you see, this isn't too far from what happens in class. You know, I'm always misplacing something. So we'll just go with this. So I'll bring down my 4x, bring down my equal sign. So now we have 4x equals 18 minus 6 is 12. All right, so we still got a little bit more ways to go. Just one more step. 4x means 4 times some number. Remember, when they're right next to each other, when you have a variable right next to a number, that means multiplication. So in order to get rid of multiplication, what do? We divide. On both sides, we divide. All right? Again, one of the things I do, 4 over 4, you cancel that down. Now, remember, we can just say it's x, or we can say 1x. Either way is fine, okay? Either way is fine. Because 4 divided by 4 is 1, we can leave it as 1x, but many times in books or assignments, you're just going to see it as x, okay? I bring down my equal sign. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So, now I have my answers here. I have my 2 variables. I have my y equals -2. Then I have my x equals 3, okay? And then what you will do then is plug those into plug those into the equation and solve. That's one way you will check. So even though you found your answers, you feel like you're comfortable with your work, you did it right, you always want to throw it in there to be sure it's correct. Now, I should have wrote a little bit smaller, but bear with me. I'm going to try to put it on this side, all of our answers included, okay? So, now I think I'm going to use, bear with me, apologies, I'm going to use red, okay? So, we use red for what I'm plugging in for my x and my y, okay? So I have 4 times 3, because that's what my x was, minus 3 times -2, and that all will equal, it should equal 18. We know that 18 is there, so I'm running out of space, so I'm just going to do it here. 4 times 3 is 12. -3 times -2 is +6, which gives me my 18. So yes, this is correct. All right. So, in those examples, in substitution, you have your 2 equations. Just to go back through it and walk through it again, you have your 2 equations. You want to make sure they line up so you keep everything in order. Makes it a really good visual. I think it makes it a little bit easier to follow. That's just me. If you have another way that works for you, please do it that way, and I will help you learn the way that you like to learn, or the way that is more comfortable for you, that you can get the most out of it, okay? So, remember, 2 equations. You want to isolate to get your y or your x to one digit, one number. You plug those in at the end to double check to see if you got the right answer, okay? So for today, or for this week, you're going to have some that are just simple y equals a number or x equals a number. And then next week we will go into where we're actually putting in more expressions into these substitution equations, okay? So that is here. The work is on the bulletin board. You can just go there. It's under photos. It should be listed per day. So you can go there to find the assignment. You can download the page that I handwritten for you, or you can just write out the questions and then send them to me. So by the end of the week, I would say Friday, end of day Friday. And remember, I'm kind of open, so end of day, you have until, end of day. You have until midnight on Friday to get the work you have to get turned in. So I won't penalize you for that as long as it is in by the end of the week, okay? Other than that, if you need some more help, I did post some YouTube videos that kind of talk through substitution, give you different variations to see it that way. That is under topics, and you will go to, I believe it's solving equations with substitution. All right. So that's what we have for this week. I hope you're doing well. And again, thank you for sticking with me and the school as we try to get a handle on this whole e-learning thing. All right. There we go. That's an example. I will try to have this posted on the page. If not, it will be on the YouTube link. And you can find it there. All right. Have a good day.